Did I take him to level gear 12? I don't think so. I'd probably glitch out. Oh no.
We got some news to talk about. So fresh off the press, a few seconds ago, we got probably one of the biggest updates from the developers in quite a long time that's going to be game-changing going forward. This is coming straight from CG Top Hat. This person does not post that much on the forums, but when they do, it is totally an important thing to read. Link down below in the description if you want to read along with me. I'm not going to read line by line, but I will give a quick summary. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to kind of give my own state of the galaxy in response to this post. So if you want to kind of get my own thoughts on the state of the game as well as my response on this note that we got, feel free to check that out. But let's get into it and just start going through the notes that we got here. Now the first thing we have here, it's territory battles. This has been teased for a little bit. We have not gotten too much information, and they're just kind of still trying to hype up the whole thing. They're telling us it's a multi-phase battle. It's pitting our entire collection of characters and ships. That's important. We have no special events besides Fleet Arena that incorporates ships. That is great to hear. A lot of people want to start using their ships they've been working on for the past 8-9 months or so. But the main thing about this is that it's a living battlefield, which sounds a bit different. The raids that we have right now, you just toss in your character as you try to beat a particular phase. They're calling this a living battlefield. So perhaps something like Risk, where it's kind of like a board game or something. I'm not exactly sure. This is something we're going to probably find out soon because they have not given us much information. But towards the end of this paragraph, they said that more information is coming in the near future. And this next part we have here, we kind of knew in advance. In a podcast a while ago, I believe, we knew that Captain Solo and what is now called Rebel Officer Leia Organa is now officially announced, and their kits will be rolling out later this week. They are not in this particular note here, and this is what's really insane. Hermit Yoda, yeah, the guy from the original trilogy, he's coming to the game apparently. That is totally out of the park. I never even thought about that character coming to the game, and it looks like it is now a possibility, but we won't know anything about Hermit Yoda because this guy is shrouded in mystery, kind of like Yoda himself. But Captain Solo and Rebel Hot Leia Organa are apparently going to be insane characters, and we will learn more about them later on this week. And they also give information on how we get these characters. So for example, to unlock Rebel Officer Leia Organa, we're going to need the new Captain Han Solo to participate in that special mission in the territory battles. So territory battles is how we're going to unlock Officer Leia Organa, and we need the Captain Han Solo to unlock Hoth Leia. So for example, to unlock the Rebel Officer Leia Organa, we're going to need the new Captain Han Solo, not the Raid Han Solo and not Stormtrooper Han, the brand new Captain Han Solo to unlock Leia Organa, the Rebel Officer version, and this will be in territory battles where Captain Han Solo will be needed. Now there's not really any information pertaining to how we get Captain Han Solo in order to get Rebel Officer Leia Organa. I'm assuming they'll give more information in the future, but this is something really interesting. The way that guild rewards have been dispersed has been kind of a dynamic thing. When the Rancor raid first came out, we had a very interesting system where there were several tiers, and the lower you were, the lower amount of Han Solo shards you'd get. And then in the AAT raid, the top 3 or so would get the highest amount of rewards, and then everyone below would get the same amount. Now, with this whole new event coming, territory battles, now they're saying if 20 members out of the 30 participate and they're successful in completing her mission, all 30 will get 20 shards of Rebel Officer Leia Organa. But even so, even if only 20 participate, they want to incentivize you to get everyone engaged, because if all 50 members participate in this particular special mission, then everyone is going to earn 50 shards of Leia. And this is quite big. This could possibly mean, assuming that she's unlocked at 4 stars, that after only 2 attempts, everyone in your guild will unlock her. That is pretty huge, and it sounds like you'll be able to unlock these characters faster perhaps. And you're going to really want to make sure your guild is ready for this because of the fact these kits are sounding amazing. We'll find out more later on this week, but they're saying that the Rebel Officer Leia Organa is going to be a devastating attacker that can attack up to 10 times in a single turn. It's kind of like we have the base Princess Leia. She can already attack 3 times. This is going to be even more insane, so you really want to make sure you band your guild together for this. And they're saying that Captain Han Solo will be a leader. We have only Stormtrooper Han that's a leader. Raid Han Solo is not a leader, but Captain Han Solo will be a leader who is a rebel healer and a rebel reviver. And if you're curious on how we're going to unlock Hermit Yoda, it looks like there's going to be a whole new shipment. When we got the new raid that came out, the Rancor raid, we had the guild store. Now we're going to get guild event tokens that can be spent on Hermit Yoda in a brand new guild event store. So there's going to be a whole new store, and with the new store usually comes characters that are hard to access. And man, you're really gonna want to have these rebel characters. As much as you may hate the rebels, it looks like they're going to be really important for this territory battles. Even Commander Luke Skywalker, he's not even out yet. We don't even have a date for when his event is, and it's already announced that he's needed for a really important special mission in this territory battles, and we don't know what it's tied to. Maybe there's a special reward, or it's needed to progress to the next level or something like that. We don't know, but what we do know is not a lot of people and not a lot of guilds are going to sniff Commander Luke Skywalker for a long time. Gear 12 is coming to the game. Now, at the beginning of the video, I kind of teased Mobile Gamer a little bit. If you saw his live stream he did a couple months ago at EA Play, he accidentally bumped Grand Admiral Thrawn to Gear 12, and I think that was the first ever accidental reveal. He had no idea he can actually go to Gear 12, and apparently on that account he was using, he was able to go to Gear 12. We don't know what Gear 12 does, but from what they're saying here, Gear 12 is going to bring a whole new level of power to our characters, but it's slightly different. You don't just put the gear on and jump to Gear 12. They're saying it's going to be slightly different than what we're used to. Gear 12 is only going to be accessible for 7-star characters. So for example, I only have a 6-star Grand Admiral Thrawn right now. I can't get him to Gear 12 until I finally bump him up to 7 stars. So it's tied to your star count and not just your gear level. And then when it comes to distributing gear throughout your guild, it looks like they are adopting the model they are using for distributing shards of the rebel officer Leia Organa. So for example, it looks like if you are number 1 in your guild, you're going to get the same amount of rewards as someone who is number 50. They are telling you to fight as a team and earn as a team. I'm guessing they are doing this so the overall guild sentiment might not be as competitive, because when the Rancor raid first came out, there was a lot of drama in many guilds because people would get number 1 and people could never touch them. And I know this started a whole capitalism versus communism argument when this was first announced a few months ago, that the gear is going to be distributed evenly throughout the guild. Personally, I don't care all that much as long as there's an event that kind of gets the whole guild together and fights something new, because the raids are getting a bit old now. I'm all for it. So that's pretty much my summary of the patch notes. Now, if you want, I'm going to give you my own state of the galaxy in response to this post, because I have a lot to say. I've been playing the game for a long time, know a lot about the game, and obviously I am quite passionate, and I do understand a lot of the issues that are going on in the community. So if you want to stick around, feel free to do so, and we're going to start talking about my own thoughts of what's going on right now. Now, generally, when I'm reading patch notes and getting new information, I try to stay very neutral, most of the time, of course.
I lied.
When making these types of videos, like the Commander Luke Skywalker video.
Oh my goodness, Luke Skywalker looks amazing.
And rightfully so. Commander Luke Skywalker looks absolutely amazing. Even the biggest rebel hater out there has to acknowledge that Commander Luke Skywalker, he looks pretty insane. My problem is this. I don't know, it could just be me and how I perceive the game, but it looks like this game is very rebel biased when there's so many other things in the game that we could be working on, and so many previous reworks that could have been a lot better. For example, Imperial Trooper reworks were very solid, but they could not counter Chase if their lives counted on it. So Chase still got to control Arena for the longest time, even though we had an opportunity for a very strong Empire rework. And we keep getting these new rebels that are very powerful over and over again, such as R2-D2, Fulcrum Ahsoka Tano, now Commander Luke Skywalker, and we have Captain Han Solo, we have Princess Leia Organa, the rebel officer version, and they all sound quite amazing. And the problem is this, we just got Grand Admiral Thrawn roughly 2 months ago, and he was seen as one of the best characters in the game. The problem is though, after 2 months, we already have probably 2 or 3 brand new counters that are going to probably make Thrawn not as good. We have the new Han Solo rework. He can now ignore taunts and instantly stun someone at the beginning of the game, which counters Thrawn. Old Ben's taunt apparently counters Thrawn. When he has his taunt up, when he gets fractured by Thrawn, all of a sudden Old Ben's taunt comes back up. So another counter to Thrawn. And then Commander Luke Skywalker, I don't need to go in a whole train about this, but he's also going to counter Thrawn. So what I'm saying saying is it feels like once the Rebels are starting to slowly die out, like I've noticed in the past month, Shays and Rebels, they are starting to not be as prevalent as they once used to be for about a good 7-8 month period straight. And it seems like the 1 month they're finally dying down, we gotta fuel the fire and add more Rebels to it. Between the reworks, which are nowhere near to what the Imperial Troopers were, they seem absolutely insane. Then we have 3 new characters that are probably going to be very insane Rebels as well. It feels like it's not good for the health of the game. In the past month as well, I've noticed there's so much diversity in Arena. I see my Director Krennic team, I see Grand Moff Tarkin teams, I see Finn teams, Qui-Gon Jinn teams, Darth Nihilus teams. And I feel like once these new reworks come into the game and Commander Luke Skywalker, that diversity might be broken again, and we're gonna go back to having to use the same characters over and over again. In the past year alone, I think we've only released original trilogy characters with the exception of General Kenobi. A year straight, starting exactly 1 year ago with Emperor Palpatine, going forward, a whole slew of just Rebels and original trilogy characters, and it feels like we're neglecting a lot of other factions in the game that need help. So long story short, enough with the Rebels. And it might not be the most popular opinion. I know people probably hate that I just said that, but that's just my opinion, and I think we need to start focusing on other factions and at least try to make them as good as some of these new guys. Out of all the things in the game, one thing I really hate the most is gear level increases. It takes a long time to get to gear 11, no joke. Just to get one stun cuff can take at least a week and a half if you're doing 1 or 2 refreshes. It's a long time, and if getting to gear 12 is going to be hard too, because now we have to wait for a 7-star character and we need the gear to get to gear 12, it's going to be painfully slow. What we have to do, I didn't see anything of that sort in this post, we need to try to make getting to gear 11 a little bit easier to make the ride to gear 12 a bit more smooth. So what they got to do if they're going to make this gear 12 thing happen is try to smooth the road out. They need to either add these hard things such as Carbantes and stun cuffs to the daily challenges, or make them a lot easier to farm, some way to make it easier, because these new characters and star counts don't mean anything if I can't gear up a character, and it's getting increasingly hard to do so. And then Zeta Mats. We need to find a way to make Zeta Mats a bit easier to farm. I'm not saying let the Zeta Mats rain from the skies, but what I'm saying is let's try to find a way to make them a bit more obtainable. Like for example, in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the Zeta Mat challenges, I've at least gotten 0 or only 1 in the past 3 weeks alone. It's painfully slow. All right, so let's put a cap on this. I kind of went on a big rant here. Long story short, I'm glad there's open communication. Let's keep that going. Let's keep improving on the communication between the developers, everyone at the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes team, and with us in the community. Secondly, enough with the Rebels, please. I only can keep a happy face for so long about these brand new, crazy, powerful Rebel characters. And lastly, let's try to focus on getting a way to make getting to gear 12 or even gear 10 and gear 11 a lot easier. AKA, come on, let's start getting some Mark III stun cuffs a bit easier. But that's my opinion. Hopefully you kind of understand where I'm coming from. Of course, we might have different perspectives, but that's my perspective of the state of the galaxy right now. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to leave me a like. Also, comment down below. What do you think of my thoughts? Am I totally out of place? I love to hear you guys' thoughts. I always talk to you guys. Also, follow me on Twitter, Discord, all that stuff. I love talking with you guys when I can. But until then, we will talk again very soon. Peace out.